and welcome to Upon Further Review. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. Area high school basketball teams playing in the state playoffs over the last couple weeks. The boys of Portal and the girls of Bullock Academy both had great seasons, both won their regions, and both advanced to the quarterfinals, where they were both unfortunately defeated in games that came down to free throws in both of those games for the most part. Portal ends up on the short end of their game against Wilkinson County. They were playing Wilkinson County for the third time this season. They had won the other two games. Portal ends up in the fourth quarter being outshot at the free throw line 15-1 in the fourth quarter. Both them and Wilkinson County had 3 field goals, but the free throws being the big difference in that one. In the Portal game, or the Bullock Academy girls game rather, they struggled at the free throw line. 10 of 22 for the game ends up being the deciding factor in that one, as they end up losing by 3 points in their game. We'll have highlights of both of those games and more for you coming up in just a bit. As for Georgia Southern's men and women's basketball teams, the women were put out in the opening round of the Sun Belt tournament down in Pensacola. The guys looking to move on, they were playing ULM on Thursday evening. We also have some high school baseball to bring you as the seasons have gotten underway for our area teams. They're into their seasons, getting ready for region play in the next couple of weeks. We'll also send you out for an interview I did with former Georgia Southern golf standout Steven Fisk, who now has status on the Corn Ferry Tour. He was in town recently in Savannah as they prepare for the Club Car Championship, which comes up in a few weeks. We'll have that and plenty more coming up on Upon Further Review. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888. or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. McCooks Pharmacy, located on Highway 80 East, is family owned and operated by Lynn and Janie McCook, as well as their son, Josh McCook. Serving the Bullock County area since 2005, McCooks Pharmacy offers fast and friendly service where the customers come first. Vaccinations are available, including shingles, flu, pneumonia, and Tdap. Drive-through service is available with 2 drive-through windows for your convenience. McCooks Pharmacy offers free local deliveries, and new customers are always welcome. Continuing the tradition of our family caring for your family, McCooks Pharmacy, Highway 80 East. Well, the Georgia Southern baseball team, we didn't mention them in the top of the show. They were in action this past weekend with a 3-game series against ETSU. I'll send you out for a couple of those victories. Georgia Southern in the first of a 3-game series with ETSU, a rare Friday afternoon matchup. The Eagles up 4-1, and Zane Falk takes this one up and away to left. The solo shot makes it 5-1. The Bucks answer with a long ball themselves. Cameron Cisnero, and it's 5-3. The Eagles respond. J.C. Peacher, the RBI single. And then a wild play coming up here. Sam Blancato lays down the bunt. He reaches on the error. Jarrett Brown advances to second. The throw gets away. He'll go to third. The throw to second to try and get Blancato's wild. Brown comes all the way home, and the Eagles win 8-7. We move over to Saturday. And Ben Johnson in command on the mound for Georgia Southern here with the strikeout. The Eagles able to start the scoring. Kyler Hultgren grounds out, but Noah Ledford comes home to score, and it's 1-0. Johnson continues to mow down the Buccaneer hitters. He'd have 9 strikeouts. Blake Evans helps him out with some run support. The RBI double to right. And it's 2-0. Later same inning, Peacher, the single through the gap the other way, and it's 3-0. Then Blancato, the batter, and he singles the opposite way. This one brings 2 runners home, and it's 5-0. In the 6th, Hultgren, The RBI single to right to make it 7-0. Then helping to preserve the shutout, Javon Ray with the strikeout here. And finally, it's Jonah Milchuk with the strikeout, and the Eagles win 9-0. Coming up this month, in a few weeks, the annual Schenkel Invitational will take place at Forest Heights Country Club. The Georgia Southern Eagles, the host team there. Speaking of the Eagles, a former Schenkel participant, winner, and currently full-time status on the Corn Ferry Tour, Steven Fisk, was in town at Savannah at the Landings, where they'll be playing the Club Car Championship in a few weeks. We had a chance to catch up with him and talk a little bit about how things have been going for Steven Fisk.
I got some more guaranteed starts at Q School a few months ago, and knowing kind of what I'm getting into and knowing a lot of the towns that we're going to and places we're traveling, just a little more comfort. I feel like last year I learned a lot, learned how to travel, learned how to manage my time, and learned how to manage my, all the mental stuff. So I think this year's going to be a whole lot better. I feel way more rested and prepared to travel than I ever have. Just trying not to overdo it and trying to be ready for a really long year, because that's just the nature of the job. And if you get yourself beat up early and you get behind the 8 ball early on in the season, it's just really hard to catch up. So my focus has just kind of been put on staying sharp and being rested, and letting the good golf kind of come to me. I'm just coming down to Savannah in a few weeks. I'm going to play right here at the Club Car and try and be ready to go there.
How do you feel about this course?
I really like this place. The Corn Ferry Tour does a great job of trying to find us some championship-style golf courses to play, and this fits right into that. If you want a golf course where you're gonna have to come out and hit some really good tee balls and kind of let it be a second shot golf course, this is a perfect spot. It's just nice, man. It always, Statesboro and Georgia Southern and kind of being in that general area is always going to be a special place to me, and I'm excited to kind of come down here and play in Savannah.
Speaking of Statesboro and Georgia Southern, obviously the guys are doing really well. How much did you watch Ben playing in the USAM, and how cool is it that he's going to be able to play in the Masters?
Man, it's awesome. Ben's one of my best friends ever since we played together, and for him to be as successful as he's been is just so great to see. I think I've got a Masters ticket for one of the rounds, so I'm looking forward to going to watch him play. And I'm proud of all of them because they work really hard, and Carter's got an unbelievable program, and he works really hard to do everything he can for those guys. And the long-term kind of path that he's put that program on, and you're starting to really see the fruits of all the labor that's been put into it, with them being kind of a national name these days.
All right, stay with us. High school basketball action coming up next. Wildflower Farms, located on Old Register Road in Statesboro, is a unique rental property for those visiting the Statesboro area. Located on a beautiful 6 acres just off the beaten path, Wildflower Farms has 4 bedrooms, including a game room and full kitchen, as well as an outdoor fire pit, and comfortably sleeps 8 to 10 people. And for those who may be in town for a show or rodeo at the Ag Center, a horse B&B is coming soon with 6 stalls and plenty of room to run in the adjacent pasture. Also available for events as well, you can book through Airbnb or call 912-536-7787 for more information. Well, last week we showed you the opening round of the Portal boys in the state tournament where they knocked off Treutlen County. After that, they defeated Randolph Clay and then ran into Wilkinson County, and it's tough to beat a good team 3 times. The Portal Panthers had already knocked off Wilkinson twice at their place and at home. It was a packed house here in Bullitt County at Portal for that game. We'll send you out for highlights of Randolph Clay and the Wilkinson County game, and also Bullock Academy taking on Brookstone up in Macon for the state quarterfinals in the girls GISA action. The Portal Panthers looking to advance to the Elite Eight as they were hosting Randolph Clay Saturday night for a packed house. Early on, the Panthers lighting it up from outside. Elijah Coleman for three. And then Chandler Grooms, the baseline jumper. Joe Thomas finding Amir Jackson inside for the hoop. And then outside again, Coleman for three. Portal out to a 9-0 lead. They'd open up that lead, but Randolph Clay coming back behind Jesus Daniels. He hits a three. Portal back. Marion Trimble, the jump shot from the free throw line, and then Coleman dish to Trimble for the dunk. Portal up by 8. Later, Bryce Clifton off the steal for the layup. But Daniels heats up again. He'd bury a couple of three-pointers as Randolph Clay gets within 2. Portal tries to come back. Trimble the finger roll. And then off the steal, it's Clifton again going in for the layup. More from Portal. Coleman driving, gets this one to go as the Panthers would open up a 28-24 halftime lead. In the second half, they'd go on a 10-0 run. Jackson with the dunk. Portal maintaining that 10-point lead. Joseph Thomas hits the turnaround jumper. And then it's Trimble, the baseline jumper. Off the miss, Amir Jackson with the hoop. Portal up by 13. Then from the far side, Thomas buries another three. He'd have 10 points. Trimble for 3 of his 14 in the game. Off the steal, Elijah Coleman goes up for the dunk. He'd have 12 points. Then Trimble, another 3. Portal up by 16 at this point. Off to the races, Bryce Clifton, another layup off of a steal. Then it's Clifton driving. He'll miss. Jackson, the hoop and the foul. He'd have 17. And Portal advances, winning 62-44. Portal High School is site for the state quarterfinals, and they were going up against a familiar foe in the Wilkinson Warriors. The Warriors, who they've already beaten twice this year, jump out to a quick 9-0 lead, but Portal fights back. Chandler Grooms with a nice basket, and then Joseph Thomas drives in for the tough 2. Thomas later pulling up, dropping this one in. Portal would tie the game going into the second quarter as Amir Jackson drives past the defense for 2. Later on, Elijah Coleman kicks it out. Thomas drives. He'd lead the Panthers with 16 points. Then off the nice steal, Tucker Chester gets this one to go. Portal up by 4. And then on the break, Bryce Clifton from Elijah Coleman. And then Coleman pulls up. He'd only have 2 points in the first half. But this one would help Portal to a 25-21 halftime lead. To the third we go. Thomas drives baseline, draws contact, no call, but he hits the bucket. And then Coleman dishes it over to Grooms, who hits the 15-footer. Portal remaining in command. Thomas hit again. No call, but he makes the basket. And then the only three-pointer of the game for either team. And Thomas driving the hoop and the foul. Portal up by 6. And then Amir Jackson powers through the dunk and the foul. But Wilkinson coming back. Travion Evans, the hoop and the foul. Back come the Panthers. Amir Jackson for 2. Free throws proving to be the big deciding factor in this game. Wilkinson County shoots 21 to only 3 for Portal in the second half. They'd have 15 in the fourth quarter. Elijah Coleman makes it a 1-point game. Then he just misses on this jumper. Loose ball, tied up. Portal forced to foul. Wilkinson connects on their free throws. They'd have 15 in the fourth quarter alone. One last chance. Bryce Clifton off the mark. And the Portal Panthers season comes to a close, 46-42. Bullock Academy taking on Brookstone in the GIAA quarterfinals in Macon. And the Cougars getting a big game from their leading scorer, Taylor Williams. As they jump out to an early lead, the Gators come back. Ashante Noble hits the three. And then Noble inside gets the loose ball. Goes up for two. Noble ends up surpassing 1,000 career points in this game, and she's just a junior. And then Armani Cook driving in for the layup. But the Gators trail 13-10 at the end of the first. In the second, Cook stays with it. She's able to finish. Later, Cook going baseline, and she gets the friendly bounce here. And then Noble, a nice look inside to Mary Mac Powell for the layup as the Gators come back to grab a 23-20 halftime lead. In the second half, Sophie Strickland somehow manages the bank shot from the corner. Then on the break, it's Cook going in for two more of her 14 points in the game. Strickland then finds Noble, and she gets 3 of her 16. Williams comes back on the other end to keep it close. Strickland then finding Powell as the Gators would take a 39-33 lead at the end of the third quarter. Noble helping to maintain the lead here. But late in the game, 42-41, Noble fouls out. Williams makes the bucket, and then the game would end up coming down to free throws. The Gators would connect on just 10 of 22 free throws in the game. Meanwhile, on the other end, the Cougars were able to hit their free throws down the stretch. Williams with a game-high 20 points. As the Gators season comes to a close, they fall 46-43. So great seasons for both of them. The Portal Panthers end up 28-2 on the year. They only lost one game at home, and unfortunately it came at a bad time. They do have 4 starters returning from this past year's team, so they should be able to make another charge next year. All right, as for area high school baseball, we had some games for you. Let's send you out for some highlights. A little rain off and on didn't slow down the action at Mill Creek Park as the Statesboro Blue Devils were hosting Benedictine. The Cadets hot out of the gates as Landon Ludwig drives the double to right center, and BC will take a 1-0 lead. Later same inning, it's Mason Diamond, the opposite field RBI single, and it's 2-0 Benedictine on top. Later, bases loaded, 1 out, and shortstop Avery Newton helps Dylan Gronfeld out of the inning with the double play. The Blue Devils able to tie things up in the fourth. Drew Yawn going the opposite way with the RBI double to left, and it's 2-1. Next up, Bruce Yawn, and he's able to drive his cousin home from second with the double to right center as the Blue Devils tie the game at 2-2. In the fifth, Aubrey Smith out of nowhere making the diving catch in foul territory, fully extended. To the sixth we go, and Landon Yates starts things off with the infield hit, takes second on a balk, third on a pass ball, and then Newton drives this one deep enough to bring in the speedy Yates with the go-ahead run. Brian Deal was dealing on the mound here, the strikeout. And then some nice defense by the Blue Devils. The drive to right center. And Denham Mincy comes up throwing. And Avery Newton, a great job of dropping down the tag for out number 3. Deal finishing things off with another strikeout as the Blue Devils win by a final of 3-2. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again soon.